esports generation. It's been built by us, but it's for you.
Welcome back to EGX. We are Gfinity and we are presenting League of Legends. So how are you all? That's a little bit better, that's a little bit better. So, we're almost at the end of EGX. Like it's Sunday, it's the afternoon. Let's have a little bit of fun. But not only that, I actually have more goodies to give away than usual because we're trying to get rid of the stock, so we have to take it back. Usual thing. How are you guys kind of enjoying all of this? It's all right? Do you like our tree? No, that's not it, right. Everybody turn around and look at our tree. Look at the tree. All right, let's get a chant going. It's not acceptable for our tree. Hail the tree! Hail the tree! Hail the tree! Hail the tree! Come on, louder!
All right. I'm trying to sleep. It's not easy being a tree. Standing here all day, people walking past me, sitting down the bottom of me. Playing with my red G's. I'm a tree.
It's Malkai's cousin, that is, by the way. So yes, that's our wonderful tree, our wonderful talking tree. Would you guys kind of ignore? Let's give it up for the tree. Woo! That's a little bit better. All right. So you know what? You joined in with my hail to the tree. We had a bit of fun. You guys, I don't feel like you appreciate it enough, but. T-shirt time. Who wants a T-shirt? Who wants a T-shirt? Welcome Martin to the stage. I said welcome Martin to the stage. Martin also has T-shirts, so you need to be nice to him. A little bit better. Okay, Martin. Let's do it. We do this all the time. I love this game. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Separate the crowd.
Separate the crowd, right. If you're to that side of the tree, you're on Team Brycey. If you're this side of the tree, congratulations, you're on Team Martin. So already you're a better level of human. It's this easy. We got to make more noise than them, which we'll probably will. And then you lot just hopefully enjoy yourselves.
Right, let's see. Right. Martin, I will give you the first try.
Right. What? Team Allen. Right, I'll change my name then. Right, we're going to count to three. We're going to count to three, and then you lot are going to lose your minds, and one of you's going to win a T-shirt. You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Pretty good. My side, are you ready for this?
Good.
Okay.
Good.
We're going to smash that, okay? Scream, okay? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I do believe I had you beat on that one.
I'll leave it out. That was close, but
close.
They won't beat us. They won't beat us, will they?
Doesn't matter if it's my intro or mile.
We're about to show you why you won't beat us. 1, 2, 3.
Nah. Are you ready? Once more. Give it everything this time. We're on death over there. 1, 2, 3.
Should we call it a draw?
Yeah, let's give them all T-shirts.
There
you go, guys.
There you go. Good stuff. That's good stuff. Right, one more T-shirt to give away. But we're getting to the end of our time here at EGX.
We do have some mugs to give away, but we're not allowed to throw them.
But we can't throw mugs. We'll hand some mugs out. We'll hand some mugs out for those that deserve it. No. The insurance will not cover that, mate. Thanks, though. We've been playing a game all week, which is called Noisy Neighbours.
I love this game. This game is fantastic.
The purposes of this game is for all of us together to get in a little bit of trouble. There's nothing like being in trouble. There's no feeling like it. We're going to do it together. So, we've got some neighbours. We've got Oculus over there. Really cool guys.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They're nice. We've got Pizza Express through there. They're charging
it's
28 quid for a pizza. We've got some other stuff going on next door over there. We're not too worried about that. But what we are going to try and do is upset someone. The only way we're going to upset them is by making, collectively, including the tree...
Can we get a chant going?
I don't want to get a chant going.
Oh, I love chants.
No.
Really?
This is not a religious cult.
It is. You said it yourself. You said yourself, Gfinity is a cult.
I did actually, yeah. Cheers, Keith. Right. On the count of 3, I want everyone to keep making as much noise as possible. I'm going to put my arm in the air, and you do not stop making noise until I bring my arm down. Hopefully, that will be enough to get someone outside to come up here and complain and tell us to keep the bloody noise down.
Bearing in mind, this is also the last EGX court.
Yes, it is.
This is it.
Exactly.
We will never be here again.
Exactly.
Ever.
So let's literally bring the house down before they bring the house down.
Yes, it is.
Right, you ready? So the instruction is simple. My arm goes up, you go mental, you do not stop making noise till I bring my arm down. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
That's pretty good. Is it true you were national arm holding champion?
That is the best one yet. Well done, everybody. Good stuff. Right, Brycey, let's pick some people to play some league. I'm going to give some mugs out.
So, being one of the last games, I went and I actually looked for high-level players because I needed some captains, all right? So I actually have 2 guys on the left. And the funny thing was, right, I've been told maybe 400 people here this weekend are Diamond or Platinum or Challenger. There's a lot of you are lying, by the way, just so you know. So I've got a Diamond and a Platinum to be my captains over here. You're one of them. Who was the other one? You standing next to you. You're Diamonds. You're Diamond. So what is the mistake that most players make?
From getting to Diamond?
Yeah.
They flame too much.
Flame too much. I like that. Obey the terms of service. Be a good summoner. Okay, you 2. Come either side. I want you either booth. Just come, you 2 either booth.
So how many have you picked there? 2?
Yeah. Those 2 are going to be captains for us. We've got a Diamond and a Platinum.
Cool.
So I went and actually checked. I went and checked that they are. Right, you take that booth. You take the other booth. Right.
In you go, mate.
So, now we need some more players.
Yeah, we do.
Wow. I'm not going to lie. But look at that sign.
As I say, it says pick me.
Someone has made a sign.
First thing is I know it's someone's birthday. Someone's birthday.
It's someone's birthday.
Where's the main man whose birthday it is? Come round that side, son. You're playing. You're playing. He's definitely playing. It's his birthday.
I love this.
Should we do the war face?
Yes, I love the war face.
We'll do the war face.
Right,
Here, drop me that one, mate. Happy birthday.
Ready. We need a man to walk it. Martin, you go to that end.
Yeah.
Cameraman, if you'd like to get tight onto Martin.
Right, this is the way this works. I'm going to get right in your face. And I want you to get right in my face. And I want you to scream at me until I'm frightened. If I'm frightened enough, you play league. Easy? Right. I'm going to start right here with you, mate. Ready? Everyone, I want you screaming in my face. I don't even care if you're at the back. Come and get... Mind the barrier, though. It is only
guys, can we just take a half
just
a step back?
Please do be careful.
It's not an industrial crash barrier. It's literally poles and rope.
Exactly. So just take a little step back. I'll come to you. Don't worry about
We're nice
that.
guys, but we don't need that much human contact.
Yeah. Ready? Oh, God, that's good. Keep going, everyone. Keep going. Even if you're here, I want to see it. That's pretty good, mate. That's rubbish. Whoa, look at you, he's a little but he's terrifying. Oh my God. Oh, here we go. What about you? That's the best one so far. What have you got? Easy.
Let me see your wall first.
Oh, I know what I know exactly what I want.
You know.
I know exactly what I want. I'll tell you what, it was terrifying. It's him.
I feel worse
It's
than
him. Get
having
around
your
here.
face, to be honest.
He is about 4 foot tall, but I tell you, he packs a punch. He's playing league.
Left side, you want to play some League of Legends? Right side, do you want to play some League of Legends? Oh, Martin, it's very difficult. They're all very good today. So, okay, I'm going to look down this side. I'm going to come down this side. Let's have a look. Guys, who wants to play? Give me some noise. Oh, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. I'm going to take this man. I'm going to take this man first. Right, middle. Any noise here? Whew, that's quite a scary crowd. All right. First of all, right, you're all lovely people, but if you spear tackle me in the middle of this show, it's not going to go well for anybody. So just half a step back. I love the enthusiasm. I do love the enthusiasm.
Mate, I think that might be the best crowd today.
It is definitely the best crowd today. Okay. I'm gonna need a hand pick in this one. So, Gfinity staff.
I think I know. Look,
can I have all the Gfinity staff over here, please, including you, Michael? Right.
Come on, Mike.
You guys are all gonna stand.
Come on, Nath.
One on the right, one in the middle, one on the left.
Nath, go down the end here, mate.
Yep. And
Nath, you go to the right.
And you guys are gonna pick.
Everyone, this is Seb, Mike, and Nath. Gfinity boys.
Hard at home.
Be careful.
Make some noise.
Be careful.
Nathan's got one. Michael.
It's got to be the guy with the sign, isn't it?
I don't know.
Michael, who you got?
I like to do with that.
Do you want to pick one? Pick one. What are you thinking, big man?
In you come, big fella.
It's got to be the guy with the sign.
Well
The
done,
guy
mate.
with the sign? I'll be honest with you, if you make a sign to come here and play League of Legends, you're in. Quickly, everyone go get pens and paper.
In that booth, mate.
In that booth. Right, let me just check numbers.
You will not need a hat, I promise you. You will
Two
not
more
need a hat.
in the red booth.
I need one in here, but I think I already know who I want.
Hold on.
I think I already know who I want.
We got the guy with the sign. Come on, guy with the sign.
I think I already know who I like. You don't want to play? You don't want to play? You don't want to play? I like your t-shirt. You're coming in. You're playing because you've got a cool hat and a cool t-shirt. Loving the passion.
Blue booth is full. Blue booth is full. We need one more person.
All right, hold on. We'll just pick someone. You need one more, two more.
No, he got one.
So in
he
you
got
come,
one.
mate.
He got one.
In you go. So, how are we going to pick the final person to play, Bryce?
I have a cunning plan. No, we're not going to have a dance-off. No, I have a cunning plan.
Oh.
So, by the way, being right at the front is not going to help you get this t-shirt, so half a step back. And just slightly crowd towards the middle. Don't kill each other, for God's sake. All right? So.
2 words, play nice.
Yes, play nice. This is, wait till you get into the booth to start hitting people, okay? And I don't mean hit your teammates, just, right, I'm going to throw this out over my head. So, can we get a view of the audience? Skycam, I think it is.
Remember, be calm. Be competitive, but be calm.
3, 2, it's great, I can kind of see. 1.
Oh, okay, we got a winner, okay, cool, we got a winner.
There we go.
Good stuff, good hands, well caught, well done.
That was well caught.
He leapt like a salmon. Go to the end, mate, go to the end.
Round the end.
Well
right,
done, fella.
we have
Right.
2 full booths.
Who's that for this booth, yeah?
I think that is it.
Final player on the way.
That is the last person. Okay, so let me introduce to you the last time they will be appearing today.
Give them the biggest welcome you ever have.
These guys are professionals, so give it up for the casters. I'm going to hand over to these lovely gentlemen here. Guys, please take it away.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and welcome once again to the EGX Gfinity stage. I am Richard Polscam. Alongside me is James O'Leary, and we are going to be here for the very last time on this weekend between these two teams.
Yeah, it's our last game of the day, and hopefully it's going to be a good one as well, because there's looks like some potential all-star players here, people that are very passionate about League. We saw Bjergsen's shirt there as well, Bjerg King. Maybe he can replicate Bjergsen's world's performances. We can hope.
Well, if I don't see a Syndra, I'm going to be disappointed, Stress, but we'll see if that one comes out, and we are just a couple seconds until we get underway with this champion select. And so far, we've had some cracking games. Of course, we've seen the two Rioters go head-to-head, ended up in 1-1 as Dragons was able to upset Bolton earlier today.
Yeah, indeed, that was a pretty cracking game. And just for those of you that are still around, that's not the last time that there'll be any League of Legends here today. We will be having another game, but this is our last game as Sona and Excoundrel. Man, how did I do that? Good friends of ours, and I managed to merge their names together.
In fact, you were called Excoundrel earlier today, Stress.
I was.
So how could you forget?
That's just a testament to how good my casting is, I feel.
Just that you could live up to Excoundrel.
Exactly. But we're about to get things underway here. Hopefully our players will be ready to go. We'll tell them that we're ready to go as well. We can get into our last champion select here at Eurogamer.
Yeah, so you know what we haven't seen over the weekend? An Azir.
Yeah, we have not seen Azir, and I really want to see some Azir. We haven't seen it in competitive because it's not allowed yet. Worlds is on 4.14. We're all the way on 4.17, but we are all the way towards our game.
We are indeed. So Champion Select is now live, and who are we going to have banned out? Lee Sin. Interesting. So clearly respecting their opponents and being like, oh, one of you maybe does have the skill to bring out the Lee Sin, the high mechanics, and see if he can get that down. Not high mechanics, as in the player high mechanics, because I don't think he plays Lee Sin mid, but the high level mechanics.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to see somebody that's as good as Shook is on Lee Sin. Just come out of the jungle and completely murder you. That's not always a good thing. We've already talked about how this is kind of like almost a solo queue setup here, where we're going to pick random people from a pool of players and then put them all in a game and hope everybody plays nice. Because if you don't play nice when you're on LAN, the person you're bad-mouthing
right next to you.
Yeah, right next to you. Not good.
Yeah, but we will have the Kha'Zix ban out, followed by Orianna and Morgana. Morgana has been seeing less bans out recently, Stress, but will be taken out away from this one. Other supports have definitely been a little bit more down. Of course, we're looking at the likes of Janna, likes of Fresh, and also Nami.
Yeah, a lot of those three supports being played. Pretty much every game in Worlds has seen one of those three supports. I'm struggling to find a game where they haven't been picked at all, and actually not a lot of bans put towards them as well in Worlds. That's probably one of the more surprising things, where there are only a small number of support champions. You seem to see a lot of bans.
That's true, but as you mentioned, has not been seeing too many bans out, but a champion who has seen a lot of bans, not only in solo queue, but also in Worlds, is that Tristana and the Fiora ban out, and I have to feel that may have been because of a performance we saw yesterday.
Yeah, we did see somebody go about 20-0 on Fiora. That was a Diamond 1 top lane player, so that was a pretty incredible performance. But I mean, this isn't the situation where you're seeing repeat players that much. So a bit of an interesting one. Maybe that's just I really hate playing against Fiora, and then I'm gonna first pick Leona.
Interesting. And in that game, there was actually a Leona jungle, right, on the opposing team.
Yeah,
so maybe it's just like, oh, I played against that Fiora, so I hope that someone else doesn't pick Fiora and I'll take the Leona jungle again. But they are just switching through a couple different champions. Urgot has not seen a lot of play basically ever since like end of season 2. Yeah,
Team Martin played it with their Urgot Taric composition, which was probably the last time you saw Taric as well. However, it is going to be that unorthodox pick first, and this is a man after my heart on the purple side.
Well, it didn't work out too well for you the other day, Stress, when we had our one-on-one, but maybe it can work out better for these teams.
Yeah, maybe he'll work it out better. I mean, to be honest, Teleport Home Guard Rammus is a fun thing to play. It's also pretty strong if you can get the ganks off, but unfortunately I just wasn't able to get into your lanes, and that made it pretty difficult and meant that he has a 1-0 lead over me on games, which I'm not too happy about.
Indeed. There was a lot of mass injustice delivered in that game with Garen jungle. But we will be seeing the next couple of picks up here. Hopefully we see a Garen jungle from the Blue team. It would be fantastic. A repeat from yesterday. But Teemo is being hovered over, and we did see a Teemo earlier today. Absolutely went huge, even though the lane matchup we were like, it's probably not going to work out too well, and then Teemo destroyed everyone.
Yeah, that pretty much happened earlier today. Now, are we okay with Worlds picks from 2 days ago? Is there anybody here that would be really unhappy if I said that there was a champion pick 2 days ago in Worlds? Because I don't want to spoil anything. If anybody would be unhappy with that,
if you don't say anything now, hold your peace.
Yeah, exactly.
Going to spoil something.
Okay, so we saw Rammus in Worlds, which Alliance picked that out and actually had that banned out against them. So, if Rammus has been picked, he is fairly good in heavy AD opposition. AD opposition teams. Yeah, Rammus will get a lot of armor, and of course it can be pretty difficult. He also had a couple of adjustments recently as well on this recent patch, just kind of quality of life, make sure that everything was in the right place. So not too surprising to see Rammus. Maybe somebody's trying to you know, echo Tab's performance or Shook's performance.
Shook's performance,
Yeah.
yeah. Tab playing
I was
that
going
will
to
be a
say
very
Tab's as
interesting
AD
one,
carry.
but yeah. AD carry Rammus, but either way, we will have that locked in alongside not only the Teemo in the top lane, but Elise and the Zillion. And while Zillion's seen a lot of play in Worlds, we've seen it a couple times as well on the main stage up here at the EGX Dfinity stage, but it's not always done super well.
Yeah, Zillion is a difficult one to
Yeah.
actually play. Support is considerably more difficult, but in this case, unless we're seeing Leona jungle, which with Elise, you know, anything can happen, but I'm pretty certain on this one. Zillion in mid lane has a great mid game. His ultimate is going to bring whoever he ults back on high health because of the AP, but the problem is he falls off towards the late game. The bombs start doing less damage when people have more resistances, as you'd expect, but his overall utility isn't quite as prominent as it is in the laning phase, and you've got to make sure you're ulting the right targets. You'll typically pick it with some kind of hyper carry, something like a Jax in the top lane, or Tristana is banned, so maybe Jinx would be an option here, a Cogmore, something like that that has a lot of late game damage that'll compensate for the Zillion lack of damage.
Well, we are going to see the next couple pickups. Anivia in the mid lane, fancy himself maybe a Froggen player coming out here. We saw it on day one and actually did very well. High level mechanics coming out from that player. So we have a repeat of those previous successes. And we will have the Caitlyn as well in the bottom lane. Definitely a safe AD carry if you're picking into a blind matchup.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like we just have some Alliance fans in the purple side. I mean, what else is next? I mean, it can't have Riven jungle. Maybe an Aurelia we'll see for top lane if Teemo's going, can't go mid, can't go support. Okay, so...
Yeah. Okay, what are we going to see support that would be at line?
Nif doesn't really have any...
No, he just kind of plays everything.
Yeah, just kind of plays everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Little
Nif
bit
needs
boring.
a signature pick.
He does, yeah. Get on that. But we all have Jinx as well locked into the bottom lane, so that looks like it's probably going to be a Zillion support coming out here, unless it's Zed support, which isn't going to happen.
Well, here we go. It could be Zed top. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's only ever played a couple of times in Korea. Najin Shield. This isn't any kind of worlds. They played it in the OGN.
Yeah.
The OGN season against Nidalee. Typically, they'll pick Zed into that because it's kind of a top lane matchup, which is very weird,
That
very
was Save,
obscure.
right?
Yeah, Save picks Zed into Nidalee in the top lane in OGN.
Yeah.
But I don't know about this. This is kind of one of those up in the air because it could just be like lane Elise, Leona jungle. You guys will be like, what are these guys talking about? We saw it yesterday, so anything can happen.
Absolutely.
But this is the composition that I expect. The Zed in the top lane, Elise jungle, Zillion in the mid with Leona in support.
Yeah, we've seen Zillion top lane as well.
Oh,
so
yeah.
those can be perfectly interchangeable as flex picks. But either way, that is going to be how this one works out. And we will have the final pickup of Braum, who has seen a lot of bans out during this weekend.
Yeah, which is surprising because he got his kit adjusted, lowered some of his health, lowered some of his damage, bits and pieces here and there on his kit, just to bring him in line. Always kind of happens with a new champion is you're never sure whether it's under the curve, over the curve, because without the massive number of games that are played each day on the live server, it can be difficult to read kind of like patterns on champion strength. So he's kind of in line now where he's not a top tier support, but he's in that echelon below, where he's still a comfortable pick. The ultimate is a great utility to be used with somebody like a Yasuo, and there's just a lot that Braum can do in a lane, provided he's not against a ranged support, which in this case against Leona I think should work out fairly well.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, in the bot lane we'll have that Jinx and the Caitlyn, so Caitlyn early game will have that range advantage over Jinx, who will not have the extra range from the rockets, of course, with the Mr. Fishbones. With the switcheroo, will not have the extra range for a couple of levels unless he's investing all of those points into that skill.
Yeah, indeed, and I wonder how this Jinx is going to work out. We had a Jinx cosplayer up here earlier playing Jinx, which is kind of like Jinxception, I guess, but didn't work out so well in that kind of game. I think that was more to do with the fact that the other Tristana crushed the game.
Yeah.
Which
very little
Tristana
you
is
can
banned.
do, yeah.
So hopefully they should be a little bit better off. And again, with the Zillion to revive Jinx, once everybody's level 6, that could be fairly difficult to deal with.
That's true, and as you mentioned, in that mid lane will be the Zillion up against Anivia. And this is the matchup that we used to see like a long time ago, but we're seeing that again now in Season 4. And almost at the end of Season 4. We're fast approaching Season 5. Almost difficult to believe we've gone that far, Stress.
Yeah, 2015 season is just around the corner. So make sure you guys are all getting your ranked end of season rewards as well. Luckily, for anybody in silver and gold, you now don't decay.
Yep.
So
you're safe.
You can just play normals, it's fine. But for everybody that's striving for platinum and diamond, you've got to keep playing.
Yeah, I know we are. And it's not going super
that
well.
ain't happening. I'm just saying. We keep playing rank 5s trying to get to diamond and matching against... We play at like 1 in the morning a match against full Diamond 1 teams.
Yeah,
and
it's
where they're
probably
like,
our
well,
fault for doing that in 1 in the morning.
yeah, but at the same time, I think if you queue any other time, you just end up with lots of mixed teams. So you kind of go up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
On you guys know what it's like in solo queue when you're doing that as well. When you get that Diamond 1 player on your team randomly, and then you win the game and get +2 points, and then lose another game and get -50. That's what's happening. That's our excuse, and we're sticking to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuses over here. But in the jungle, we will have the Elise coming out. Once again, has been picked a ton in World and solo queue. Has seen a slight fall off after we did see some hits. Repel was changed a couple of patches ago. There were other changes to Elise as well. And as you mentioned, Rammus has had those quality of life changes, so we will be seeing that in this game. But it's not a very common jungle matchup.
No, it's not at all. And again, Rammus was seen fairly recently. One thing that people will underestimate from Rammus, though, is how the duration of his taunt, if you start putting points into it. I was actually, once we saw Rammus come up when I was researching for my game against you, I was looking at what people are maxing on Rammus. And European junglers actually tend to max his W, which is kind of different to the North American junglers, who I was looking at Meteos in particular, puts a lot of points in taunt. He'll get all 3 skills and then start maxing taunt. And the duration ticks up so much that you end up with like a 2-second taunt.
Yeah.
And that is a lot to deal with. If you don't have a QSS, somebody like Jinx who has no escape is going to be very vulnerable.
It used to be 3 seconds
Yeah.
until a couple of patches ago when that was changed, and that was really, really annoying to play against. But yeah, as you mentioned, that is kind of the typical build path. We did see one Rammus, I want to say near the mid split, and they actually maxed Powerball.
I think that was
everyone
Crumbs.
just like, was it Crumbs? Yeah, it was. Everyone was just like, "What? That doesn't make any sense."
I
at all.
remember seeing when he was powerballing up. I think it was actually, I want to say,
I think it was in the EU.
It might have been Gambit then.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, for some reason, I'm remembering Gambit on that
Was
as
that
well.
Wembley? I can't remember.
There's so many games
Yeah.
just merge into one. I don't think it was Wembley because I would have had trouble observing that. if
Yeah,
it had
absolutely.
Been. But a couple of different junglers have tried Rammus. He's never been a mainstay in the jungle for the last 3 years normally. So he's kind of a gimmicky kind of champion. But I'm glad we're seeing the King Rammus skin coming out from this Rammus, because of course you can't get that anymore. These are unlocked accounts that we're playing on, so everything is available.
Yep, you can pick anything you want, and there is only one game remaining today, so make sure you stick around because it will be your last chance to get up here on stage and play like a pro and play anything you want with any skin and any role you want to play.
Yeah, and there are some prizes for people that actually do come up here on stage. The guys from Riot Bolton and Draggles have been giving out a load of stuff all over the weekend. So Arcade Hecarim skins, PaySafe RP cards, Poros, cupcakes, everything has been given away, and it's really awesome to see everybody here at Eurogamer.
But for the last time, for at least us, Stress, this is our final game here. Onto the Rift we are, and no one is moving at all.
Oh man, imagine if you saw this in LCS.
Yeah, this is like, I can't decide what I want to build in the early game.
This is the first time we've ever seen nobody move.
Yeah. Well, they're buying items now, so that's a good sign.
They're dancing on the platform as well. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
That explains one. One of them's forgiven.
What about the rest of you?
Nobody wants to go.
Well, everyone is buying up their items, and there's the pause. Okay,
Okay.
so a couple of
Well,
people
that
may
makes
be
sense.
having some issues, but we'll have that sorted out in just a second. But fairly standard starts. Melee supports will be going for those relic shields, able to get those executes down on the minions.
Yeah, it's fairly standard. Both melee range supports. You don't really have to get forced into, that kind of melee against range harass, which that's where Braum will suffer from, especially against a champion like Thresh recently. Braum will deal very badly with Thresh, Morgana, and Zyra. Because of their extra range, their extra harass, the engage potential that each of those champions have, Braum wants to get as many stacks on Relic Shield as he can, but that's not possible when you're getting hit in the face time and time and time again, especially after his initial health in the game did get reduced.
Yeah, so now we do see in the jungle, of course, the machetes picked up, which is perfectly standard. Sometimes you will see Elise in particular pick up two potions.
That would be
two
ballsy
wards.
play.
It's like no potion at all, but 2 potions and a ward. And with the Spylings tanking up the jungle, you can actually make that work with a setup team where they give you a little bit more help before you start the jungle, especially if you go on the bottom side buff and your bot lane can help you.
Yeah, indeed. It's one of those situations. I actually did it against you on Rammus. Is you
Yeah,
can
I
take a lot of
noticed.
control in the jungle. If you pick up a ward, you are sacrificing effective health, because it means that if you get caught out, a potion is effectively additional health in the skirmish,
Yeah.
because you're not going to die fast enough for the potion not to start chugging. But if you use that ward to get control of a jungle, smite away a buff from your enemy, counter jungle, any of these kind of things, counter gank, it already becomes worth it.
Yeah, and that will not be the case this game, but it is definitely a trick that you can use yourselves. In the mid lane, we're going to be seeing Zillion pick up a very utility-heavy build in Masteries. Has got the Total Biscuit of Rejuvenation.
He doesn't have a trinket, though. Now he does, but he had to back away.
Yeah, and that will mean that if they did choose to go for an invade, that being from the purple team, he would have been one man down and unable to defend, but they are going to bet defensively. Rammus does like to have those early game buffs.
It's okay. That's a mistake that even players at the top level make.
Yeah.
Because we saw during the European qualifiers at Gamescom, I think it was,
Yep.
or was it at PAX, there was a team that just forgot like three trinkets
That was the PAX,
in the
I believe,
beginning.
yeah.
Yeah, that was, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, but as soon as a pro does it, it makes you feel better about yourself when you occasionally
Exactly.
do it.
And they did it with 3 of them.
Yeah.
So that's way worse.
Absolutely, but everyone will be starting up on these initial buffs. 1 minute 55. And Olivia will also be helping out as well. Typically, the mid laners will not even do that, just try and get that very first minion of the game. And Elise has 3 smited. And that's something, even in the early game, you may not necessarily want to do.
Yeah, they don't have a ward. Typically, the only time you'll see that out of an LCS jungler is if they know exactly the positioning of their opponents.
Yeah.
Because if you smite first, yes, in effect, if you're still getting a leash, you'll get a faster kill on the buff at times. It can kind of work out. That depends on how you're positioning on Elise. But it's so risky. If you don't have the backside of the buff warded, then someone can just come in. If they've already pre-warded your buff, smite down instantly, buff goes away, and you're pretty much against a 3-buff start.
Yeah, and sometimes you will smite earlier if you have complete vision, because it means it will come up a little bit faster, especially if you go for the level 2. And Elise is heading into the jungle, maybe looking for the level 2 gank on the mid lane. Is coming in from behind, has that red buff, starts coming in, has a lot of damage with the venomous bite, and also has a bomb. That will pop her into the rebirth passive. And we'll be able to get some free auto attacks down. Won't be able to kill Anivia, but that is huge, having the passive down this early.
And having the flash down as well. Not only is the passive not available, but Anivia isn't exactly the safest champion anymore. She's not 6, nowhere near it, because we're only 4 minutes into the game. Can't wave clear, can't flash away, doesn't have her rebirth. And at that point, Anivia becomes one of the most vulnerable mid laners if you're going to keep pushing like this, which is very dangerous.
And Elise can just go for round 2. Zillion's playing it smart. He's not just bombing every single wave coming into him, so he's setting it up for Elise next time around. Rammus, however, is heading into the top lane. Both junglers will just find each other. Rammus thinks about maybe going backwards. Zed now comes in, lands the shurikens, and we'll just send him back into his jungle.
Zed's been having a considerably easier time than our top laner was earlier against Teemo because he hit level 2 first. He put a Q straight into the wave when he got there, made sure that he hit that level first, made sure he could get the advantage in the early game, and this could be a catastrophic gank here. Do we have Cocoon skilled? Yes, we do.
We do have Cocoon skilled, but Anivia will be sitting on the bottom side of the lane, making it very difficult for Elise, and the wave is pushing in her direction. So we'll not be able to get this gank off, but the bot lane haven't paid much attention to this one. Slight advantage to Caitlyn is to be expected, especially as a mini wave is pushing in towards Jinx now.
Yeah, they've got to be careful when they're pushing forward, though, for the Relic Shield stacks to not take too much damage from the Caitlyn. That's one of the big things that will turn this lane. You can see Leona has got 3 CS already. That, of course, will be added to Jinx's tally as well. But Braum, in the same case, has to be careful of those rockets that are going to come out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, mid lane, once again, the junglers will be finding themselves in the bottom river. Rammus now heading into the opposing jungle, looking for the counter gank. Elise must have seen him, and did head into the mid lane to try and get something done on Anivia. Rammus will spot that one out, has the ward down, so knows the current location of Elise. Pings come out as well to notify them of that, and they are looking to try and collapse. So you can see that both of the bot lanes are just meeting each other. Leona lands a nice Zenith Blade onto Caitlyn as she backs off. That will just turn them away from the farm very briefly.
So I want to mention a little interaction we just saw in the bottom lane before all of that action, although I don't think I'll have time because
Well, no,
Rammus...
Elise is chasing down the Rammus, but the Powerball comes up. He should be good to go. That was fairly dangerous to go right back into the bush, but should be okay, as Elise is still looking for the counter jungle. We'll get the white and walk out.
Okay, so when you're playing a Relic Shield jungle support, you want to make sure that you get the siege minion from each wave, and at the same time, if your opponent is playing a Relic Shield, you want to deny them that, mid lane, no
hold
flash.
that thought once again, there's the cocoon, no rebirth, first blood goes to Elise.
First blood, an easily worked first blood, knowing no flash, no passive means that is an incredibly easy kill to pick up.
Yeah, and we'll just head back into the jungle. Quite happy with that one. Ignite sticking down. One more tick, and that was enough to take down Teemo. So a complete reversal from what we saw earlier.
Yeah, this is becoming really difficult for Teemo to sit in. He's 16 CS behind already, and now Zed is level 6 when Teemo isn't. Now Teemo has no flash as well. And Zed actually hit 6 during that fight, so didn't need to use the death mark.
And you can notice how dominant Zed has been in that lane. He's basically not even been harassed. He has essentially perfect farm in the top lane against Teemo. And 25 farm to 46 is a huge difference at this stage in the game.
Yeah, and Teemo's not exactly getting items that are going to help him out here. I mean, he's opting for the Fiendish Codex. That won't really give him much more survivability in that lane, which means Zed is probably going to come back into the lane, let it push towards him ever so slightly, and then deathmark Teemo as fast as possible.
Yeah, and we'll see how that lane works out. Mid lane will still probably not have rebirth. Still another couple minutes on that one. Indeed does not have the rebirth just yet, and Elise will probably spend even more time around that area. And it has literally just come up.
Yeah, it has, but bottom lane there is a gank.
Rammus comes in for this one, gets the taunt down onto Jinx, and it will just be Leona getting stunned up here. Concussive blows was already procced. It catches them underneath the turret. Caitlyn also comes in, flash into the cocoon, but Caitlyn was not underneath the tower taking tower aggro, otherwise that would have been killed for certain.
Great counter gank out there by Elise. They make sure they got at least a couple of summoners from that. Heal and flash down on Caitlyn, and although she does have that 90 caliber net, she does require those two big escape tools, because Jinx, when she gets the Super Mega Death Rocket, if Caitlyn is low, that does have that execute on it. So could be an easy pickup here if they can manage to get a Solar Flare into that Super Mega Death Rocket.
And Rammus, very importantly, did not burn his own flash, so will be able to come in with a flash bump play with his power ball, and that is very important when he starts hitting level 6. His other lanes hit level 6 themselves, increase their kill pressure. Top lane not so much as it is Teemo, mid lane also not so much as it is Anivia, but bot lane is potential for him to use that flash for a kill.
The problem Rammus has here is, take a look at his experience. He's already behind 2 levels by Elise, and he's not even halfway through to level 5. Yes, he is. He's level 5. Just got it. Okay.
Yeah,
So he got the wolf camp. I just looked at it earlier. So he is still a level behind, though, and that is a tricky spot to be in, because Elise is going to want to be in the jungle even more, and that the ultimate that's going to come from Rumble Tremors is very good for those kind of 2v3 fights where you're looking for a fight over an enclosed area.
And we'll see if that works out for him. Of course, sometimes you do see the top lane Rammus. Tremors is on a very low cooldown. In fact, one of the lowest cooldowns on the ultimates you can get, almost like just over 40 seconds on the early ranks. Top lane, however, once again, Zed just exerting his dominance. Teemo finding it very difficult to even get near the minion waivers, just having to use those shrooms to farm. But once again, double buff Elise, looking for this gank onto mid lane, looking for the cocoon, slows him down first to try and set this up, waits for the flash, still misses the cocoon, drops him into rebirth. And now the Rammus comes in, but he's still very low himself, and Pointless Bite will be coming up just in a second. Venomous Bite, rather, and that has been locking him in place. We'll get the Zillion ultimate down, but he's only got no mana remaining. Either way, the bomb will finish off Anivia in the tail ends of that fight. Rammus is still very low. Has to be careful because Venom's Bite is off cooldown. And we'll head off to 2 behind his turret. 1-0 so far. Top lane Depot comes out. We'll be jumping out with the clone as well. So 2-0 over the map for the blue team.
Make sure blue team could pick up as much as they could from that. I thought it was a little bit greedy at first, sticking around. Then the bomb explodes on Anivia. They know they got that 1 kill, and that is a great start for them. Bottom lane looks like there might be an engage.
Another engage with Xenoblade, but she's incredibly low. Glacial Fissure comes out, followed by the Solar Flare to keep Caitlyn in place. Piltover comes through. Will be tagging Leona for the kill.
I think there was a bit of miscommunication, because take a look at where Elise and Zillion are. I thought the bot lane thought they were coming down, and would have been in that lane at the tail end of the fight. Leona would have fallen anyway. But that was a little bit of a strange decision. You need the Spiderlings to start tanking here, Elise. There we go.
There we go. The call was probably made. Yeah, it was very, very close. But the call was probably made. We're coming down to Dragon.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We're coming down, Solar Flare.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good. You need to make sure that that communication is there. But as we said, this is play like a pro, but they're not pro teams. We haven't taken like a Fnatic and put them all together. This is just pretty much the equivalent of picking people from solo queue.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, 90% of being a pro is having a professional team and working tirelessly day in, day out to try and get everything down. And you're talking yourself, we were talking about this, about the wards. And professional teams will literally spend hours and hours thinking about ward placements.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, you can be the best solo player that you want to be, but I mean, all you got to do is look at CLG.
Yeah. Anyway,
no?
So
Oh, okay. So someone else made a CLG joke earlier, and it got a great reaction. Apparently, mine falls on deaf ears.
not so much.
No CLG fans in the audience.
Apparently not.
I'm sorry.
Either way, we'll have Braum coming into the bot lane. Rammus looking for a gank in the top lane, following through onto Zed, but still has Living Shadow. And Rammus, well, notice that, and will just do a circuit around the top lane, head back into his jungle.
Yeah, indeed. Now, with that dragon down, you got to look for positions for Elise to get into lanes now, and that looks like what she's doing. She actually picked up a sweeper trinket fairly early on, so she's been able to de-ward some areas, but you can see she walks over a ward. Is it enough?
Well, she netted out of the engage and didn't land the cocoon, but may still be enough damage to take out Braum. Oh, the body block from the Super Mega Death Rocket will keep Braum alive.
And the important thing there, of course, because you didn't get the splash damage, the execute didn't apply, so that's why it looked like it did hardly any damage. Cocoon.
Looking for, again, the Venomous Bite. Will be duking out the way of the Zap. This is still very, very close. Multiple players flashing up reds in this bottom lane, but they should be able to get out.
Yeah, they should indeed. Now, Rammus just kind of walks through mid lane, walks over a ward. It's a good time to start counter jungling, because you can see how low Elise's health is, but it doesn't look like he wants to commit to it. This is a strange ward.
Oh, he was looking to ward over the wall, but just ended up on the other side. Either way, did manage to get it down in the end. Expended 2 wards for his trouble. And is still sitting on top of a ward, so Zillion will not be taken down today.
Top lane has somewhat slowed down a little bit here, and I'm not exactly sure why, because you can look at just the health bars between Zed and Teemo, and it looks like Zed's been leaving Teemo alone a little bit more as they've come back into the lane. The mushrooms are going to be a little bit annoying for Zed, but I have a feeling if he swaps his trinket out fairly soon to a sweeper, he'll be in a good standing here, but...
Well, literally just goes straight through those shrooms, and we'll just be able to deathmark Gajuka away with the clone. And that's a dead Teemo.
I call hacks.
Yeah, you probably saw him place them down rather than hacking.
That is true. But, I mean, the fact that if you did see him down to walk in the middle and then over the second one, that was impressive.
It was very impressive. But Anivia has been caught out here. Looks to be slowed down by Zillion. Lands the first bomb, but won't be able to get in range with the cocoon from Elise. And we'll be backing off. 5-1 currently, 3,000 gold advances to the blue team. Significantly ahead, but we haven't seen any skirmishes yet. And there is a pretty strong skirmish team from the purple.
Yeah, it kind of is reliant though on the taunts and the flash frost from Anivia. If they don't get a taunt or the Q, that's the other thing, powerballing into somebody is of course the engage tool that they're looking for. If they don't get that in these skirmishes, it's very difficult for them actually to take the lead. In 5v5 fights, yes, they've got Braum, they can use the Glacial Fissure, but in this period where bottom lane is still stuck down on the bottom side of the map, it isn't really going to work out for them.
And Rammus wasn't able to really salvage top lane either, because Teemo is not a very good gank lane. He has no CC, has a decent amount of damage, but when he's behind, will not be able to deal with the Zed. And as you can see, 2,500 gold advantage over Teemo in the top lane is almost catastrophic. And there's nothing they can really do to disrupt the Zed. No one can deal with him one-on-one.
Yeah, that actually makes up half of the entire gold disparity between these two teams. And that is pretty rare that you see a 5,000 gold disparity this early on, and then half of that is from one lane. Let's see whether he did see where they are.
Oh,
no,
apparently
okay,
not.
got lucky the first time.
Yeah.
That's half of playing League, is getting lucky with your damage.
Yeah, well, maybe he thought it was already exploded because it has been down there for a long, long time, but we'll just be taking another one to the face. However, Teemo really doesn't have very much damage. That's 2 shrooms and literally barely scratched Zed.
Zed has, however, kind of compensated for the fact that he's going to be pushing quite a lot in this top lane. He's already picked up 2 wards, which means he can ward behind him, make sure he can get away. He's very mobile as a champion anyway. And a bottom lane 4-man gank is going to go.
Oh, there's the engage. This is a good one coming in. Solar Flare will not be connecting onto Braum. He might be able to just get Caitlyn away. Exhaust comes out onto both players. Rammus comes in for the counter gank. Will not be blocking out the Super Mega Death Rocket, but flies through regardless. Bomb comes out from Zillion and picks up the 1 and 0.
Yeah, top lane, however, Zed may be in a little trouble.
Oh, we'll be using the Death Mark to get away from Teemo. Now we'll come in once again, try and get this 1-for-1. Should be enough damage. There it is, and the 1 versus 2 picks up a kill.
However, what can they get on the bottom side of the map from this? They already took that 1 kill. They will secure the area around Dragon. Can they actually take that down? It's another 15 seconds until it spawns, so it's in line with Teemo's death timer. But I don't know whether they're actually going to commit to this, because Rammus has been around the area for quite a while.
Yeah, they're going to just head back up into the mid lane, carry on farming this one out. So Zillion has gone for the Athenes and Holy Grail, which is a somewhat common build. Likewise, Anivia heading towards the Archangel staff, maybe even just trying to rush it, has picked up the Cherry of the Goddess, looking for a very late game orientated build. And honestly, at the moment, Stress, I'm not sure if we're going to get there. Completely denied the vision as well from both of these teams, meaning that the blue team will just come away with this dragon, and they didn't even get the timer on it.
Yeah, easy dragon pickup there for our blue squad, and they now kind of maintain a little bit more than a 5,000 gold lead. So it's working out well for them right now. The one saving grace that our purple team have is the fact that Caitlyn is ahead in lane. Caitlyn also has a kill, finished her Infinity Edge. So in this kind of mid-game period, she's going to have slightly more damage than Jinx. They've got to be careful that Jinx doesn't pick up a couple of kills, because that really will tilt things in against them even further. Cocoon doesn't land.
Rammus came in from the tower. Glacial Fissure was not currently available for Braum as he came in for the flank. Was not able to get that team fight down. Caitlyn, however, is by herself in the bottom lane. Braum is now returning there. Rammus looking for this invade himself. Didn't pass over any enemy wards, so might be able to go for this gank in bot lane. Is, however, fairly chunked, so we'll have to get a very fast kill, and Zed is on the hunt for a Teemo. Deathmark is off cooldown, didn't choose to use it, but has burnt the flash, and Zed still has the ultimate. He may even just go for the tower dive. However, in the bot lane, Venspike comes down, bump, flash over the wall. Repel is not in range, but will just change targets onto the Braum. Looking for the second cocoon up in 3 seconds. Won't be able to get it. Top lane, the Deathmark was used to pick up Teemo, and Nivea trying to come in to try and go for that kill. Will be able to land the Flash Frost and the Frostbite, but he's got the Juke shoes on, and will just be taunting him in the face. Doesn't have any cooldown to himself. Will follow up. Will be taken down, surely. Glacial Storm and also the auto attacks followed by a ding line is enough to pick up the kill.
Yeah, they knew they couldn't get the kill there. Zed couldn't get it on Anivia. The passive was up. He had no death mark. There was no chance really of him outputting more damage than Anivia twice over.
Yeah.
So he knew his fate was sealed. And bottom lane, they backed off as well. They're pretty happy with the lead that they have. They don't want to overextend anywhere near this purple team, because that Caitlyn is still quite strong.
Yeah, 1-0-0, and actually has the gold advantage in the bottom lane, 500 in fact over her counterpart of Jinx. So definitely the saving grace in this game. If they can get Caitlyn some more kills, if they can protect her in team fights, which they actually have a pretty decent PL team, then they might be able to just pull this one back.
There is the Infinity Edge, though, to match up on Jinx, so their damage is going to be fairly even. Let's take a look. 750 gold on Caitlyn, so she's a fair amount away. The only real thing she could opt into now is level 2 boots, those Berserker's Greaves. Yes, that'll give her the extra attack speed, which in turn will give her slightly more damage in team fights, but compared to, another BF sword, it's not exactly a fight changer.
Absolutely, and Leon is getting within range of being ace in the hold very soon. Just needs a couple more auto attacks and she will get there. But here's the engage, because Elise once again comes into the bottom lane. Will get the snare and the stun onto Braum, and he is locked in place once again, trying to pick up this kill onto Caitlyn. Venomous Bite comes through, ultimate as well, Super Mega Death Rocket, and a 2-0. Well played by Leona.
And you were right with the initial observation. She was close enough for an ace in the hole. Yep. All they had to do was not use any ultimates, because they kind of need that for disengage. Just 2 auto attacks would have been enough.
He did manage to pick up a return kill in the mid lane. Zillion didn't use his ultimate or flash, so you have to feel that either it was a Rammus taunt, which is more likely. In fact, I'm just going to end it there. But however, these will come in and try and get the kill onto Anivia. Still has the Rebirth passive, but doesn't want to go all in on this engage. Glacial Storm once again looking for the second Frostbite.
Yeah, down in the bottom lane, Jinx is doing what Jinx does best, and that is pushing towers. That's You know, a bit of a famous quote from I'm a Cutie Pie is, when I'm playing Jinx, I just see everything as towers.
Yeah, I remember that one. And it did start to work out for him as the season progressed, but that will be the first kill not coming down. Zed has been locked in place. 3 versus 1. Did manage to drop the Anivia into the passive. Ignite's ticking onto Teemo, and in the 1 versus 3, picks up a kill and burns the passive.
Yeah, that kind of is a 2 for 1. That pretty much is as far as that goes. Anivia is now vulnerable once again. Has the Rod of Ages in the tier though, so is starting to stack into that late game style where she can just pretty much clear every wave, and that makes it difficult for Zilean as his damage peters off and Anivia's getting tankier and tankier. It makes it very difficult for him actually to sit in a lane against her, so they're probably going to want to end this laning phase fairly shortly. Yeah, Zilean is definitely already hitting his power plateau at this stage in the game, and with 1 minute 30 remaining on Dragon, we may see bot lane and mid lane start converging in there. And speaking of bot lane, they are just carrying on farming. Caitlyn still has that CS advantage by a significant margin, looking at 40 CS over the opponent so far. Braum, however, has died once more than the opponents, but nothing too awful in the bottom lane, and only time will tell how this game will work out, Stress, because the goal advantage is big, but it's not unwinnable and it's not too difficult to come back into it. The other thing that we've got to look at is how difficult is it for the blue team to capitalize on their lead. Their tower pushing potential isn't actually that great. Zilean's auto attacks aren't exactly anything to write home about, and yes, Jinx is very good at tower pushing, but Zed, Elise and Leona are typically short range champions, melee range for 2 of them, and that means you can't push up very easily, and against Anivia and Caitlyn, they're going to burn every wave down immediately. Yeah, it's the stall team from hell coming out from the purple team, so unless they get picks, which they actually have a pretty good picking team with Leona, Elise and Zed, all with single target CC abilities, they may be able to get some picks, then go into towers, but it's relying on purple team making a misstep. Yeah, exactly, and it's kind of the old CLG EU style of, we'll play Anivia and wait you out for 60 minutes, where we can just sit in front of our base. And then you have to push in towards us, and you can't do that with your team. Ooh. Lane Chomp is very close to pinning down Braum. And Zed was able to take Anivia in the top lane, that was unexpected, but we'll be able to push up the tower. And that's what you definitely can't do as Anivia. It's great you can stall, but if Zed assassinates you under turret, then it's not going to help all that much. That's the problem with not having the passive, is you're susceptible to a Deathmark, and we didn't manage to catch it, but Deathmark is on cooldown. It was a pretty cut and dry kill. Yeah, but however, Anivia didn't burn Flash, so had the clarity not to burn her summoners, so that's pretty important when we get into the duels once again, and there's no ward on this one, so they have absolutely no vision. And with the Anivia kill, they're just not interested in going for it. In fact, Rammus went all the way to top lane to try and save the tower, didn't even save the tower, so they lost not only Dragon and Anivia, but also the Dragon. Well, that's the great thing there about this team comp, is if they split up, it makes it more difficult for them actually to hold objectives, them being the purple side, because if you don't have Anivia and Caitlyn and you're not pushing all the way through one lane, that wave clear is somewhat more spread thin, and if you can't continue to clear, they will start taking this fight with the pick composition. Well, here is the clear composition, the anti-siege composition coming out from purple team, able to keep the mid tower alive, but top lane, as you can see, is the major issue for them at the moment, because pushing up into that inner turret, Zed is not going to stop. He will just carry on pushing relentlessly. And we've already seen that basically the only person that can duel him essentially is Anivia, and she couldn't do that without the Rebirth passive. So Zed will just carry on split pushing, and however, doesn't have teleport, so if they just do close in and try and collapse on top of him, he may be taken out. Red team are trying to put a lot of pressure onto this bottom turret. The problem is they really aren't doing anything elsewhere on the map to force people away from it. If you're going to try and create pressure in what is essentially a losing lane for you just on the tower perspective, because obviously Caitlyn and Braum can't get anywhere, can't get to safety, then it is a pretty sticky situation. Uh-oh. Deathmark comes down and 50% of Teemo's HP gone in a heartbeat. And essentially that's going to happen every single time that Teemo wanders into the top lane looking for the gank. Will be flashing away. The cocoon lands onto Braum, and that's a very, very tanky target. As you can see, they will not be able to follow up on it. Leona wasn't there, so they didn't have the solar flare available to put that down and block Caitlyn and Braum in place. Rammus is around, however, for a counter gang. Jinx a step forward.
Oh, he's still coming forwards, and there's the Glacial Fissure. Pins are in place, looking for the taunt as well. Will get the bump down, and also the exhaust burning so much on this Jinx. They need to get this kill. They will get it with a final crit from Caitlyn. There's a cocoon coming through, does not land despite the exhaust coming out from Leona.
But at the same time, Zed has been a pain up in the top side. He's still pushing on the inhibitor tower nearly. Teemo is around to stop him, but Teemo's not going to be able to do too much once Deathmark is up. Anivia, however, may be able to because that passive is back available.
Anivia has found him, gets the Duke out with a Living Shadow. Still trying to come in from behind, has the Crystallize coming in. Bot tower should be falling, but Zed comes in once again for the engage, gets the Deathmark down, tries to assassinate the Teemo before he falls himself, gets the first kill, won't be able to get the second. Glacial Storm will make sure of that, but a 1-for-1 once again in a 3v1, drawing so much pressure up to the top lane.
Turrets traded evenly, but can they get anything more from this mid lane? They don't exactly have the best tower pushing potential. Gonna have to turn that Skittering Frenzy on if you want to really push down that tower.
Yeah, I mean, swapping out of Spider Form, which is your push ability, will not result in the tower going down. Rammus came out as well to clear out the minion wave, had the Tremors if needed.
This jungle path is deadly. Let's see how much damage these shrooms are going to do.
Looks like he's regenning faster. Well, he took a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, that's not exactly what you want to happen right now, though. You want those to really start chunking if you're going to build AP Teemo.
Minor hindrance.
This is somewhat on-hit Teemo, because you've got that Nash's Tooth. He's going to add the AP to his auto attacks with the dot as well, but it's not really as impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Shroom Teemo, which just builds Leandries first and goes full spell penetration.
Yeah, then gets a Rabadance to top it all off.
Yeah.
Just lose half your health to one mushroom.
Well, at least it's not 0.8 ratio Teemo, which used to exist.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
Zillion's having some trouble here.
Yeah,
he's
losing
losing
vision, so it might reset, and, well, at least wanted to help, but it was getting to the stage where if she did, it should actually take the blue buff. Zillion managed to get it, will be able to head back to base with that extra gold that he accrued, and has picked up the Fiends and the Holy Grail, picked up the tier himself, actually fairly late, picked up the tier after the Fiends, and has picked up a Leansly Large Rod.
So there's a slightly different build out of Caitlyn than we've seen in recent times. Typically on AD carries you'll see Static Shiv as their second item. However, they have enough wave clear that you can actually maximize the damage here by going Phantom Dance. So I'd like to think that that is indeed the case of why Phantom Dance has been picked up. Gives Caitlyn that slightly better late game just because you get that extra crit damage, you get a lot extra from the Phantom Dancer. But that's trusting that Anivia and Caitlyn are both going to be alive.
Yes, indeed. Mid lane, everyone is grouped up for a potential engage. And it will have to either come from Braum if they want it from the purple team. But they are behind at this point by 9,000 gold. Not sure if they really want to be pushed out this far. And Zed's going to take this opportunity just to go to top lane. He knows no one can deal with him.
Yeah, he managed to avoid a fair number of shrooms on the way. So it looks like, obviously now that he is in range, Rammus is looking, flashes the wall.
He flashes the wall, comes in range, tries to get the bump, but everyone's closing in from behind. He's going to use the Deathmark on Rammus and may just pick up the kill before anyone else gets here. In fact, he will. Now, this is still very risky for Teemo and Caitlyn, but all the cooldowns are off for Zed. Comes in with the Living Shadow, nets backwards and should be able to pick up the kill. A last crit comes in, but the mid lane, of course, will engage, but they got them underneath the tower. They were able to kite them away, so despite all that pressure from Zed, the team is never able to capitalize.
They didn't have a minion wave pushed up in mid, and they couldn't utilize all of that time spent top lane by Rammus. Uh-oh.
Has been caught out by the Flash Frost, but doesn't seem to matter. Able to get out. Zillion able to use the speed up on his E to get him away. 15-8, however, and it doesn't matter how much Zed does. The team is never able to find themselves into a team fight. Salt Flare wasn't even used.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think they ever had the position there to actually get the fight. They were a little bit too far under the turret. And Anivia pushes the turret down. Pretty much just a foregone conclusion. That one was pretty low, so a couple of auto attacks out there is going to take that down. But that is only their second turret of the game. You look over to the 4 that our blue side have taken down. That's a good spot to be in right now. And we talked about how they have a fairly decent amount of scaling with Jinx. She is 1-1 and 0. Started to catch up a little bit on the farm, but is still somewhat far behind. They need to give a little bit of time to farm, perhaps, in the bottom lane.
This, however, definitely isn't all she wrote for the purple team, because they have pretty decent scaling, got the Anivia to stall out the game, got the Caitlyn as well, kind of that parabolic power curve as you get into the late game will be once again extremely strong. However, they have managed to catch out the Zillion. Didn't use his ultimate, once again, because of the taunt from Rammus, makes it very difficult for him to use that on himself or anyone else, and this may be one of their first dragons of the game. as they have taken out the mid laner, and the jungler is coming in range but won't be there to try and steal.
Didn't smite. That actually is only just available. That could have been a good steal by Jinx if they'd have got that away. We saw a Baron getting stolen earlier, and Zed's been
Hit by a
pretty much
shroom.
spotted out by that shroom. He was already revealed. He doesn't want to stick around here.
Yeah, he wanted a recall. Shroom stopped him from being able to do so. Has gone for a full one-on-one assassination build. Picked up the Bladed Ruin King. Picking up now the Tiamat as well. Looking for a Ravenous Hydra. And sometimes you do see at the very last item, Zed sometimes will pick up a Sword of the Divine. Just because you have so much extra AD from your W passive, Living Shadow.
Yeah, and actually here comes the Powerball top. Ooh, I thought Rammus was going in for it then. But Powerball ran out.
It ran out just as he arrived. He did have Teemo and Caitlyn behind him. Didn't have the flash either to get in range, and flash torn.
Yeah, Zed would have been susceptible to that. That's even though he's 10-5 and 0, he's not at the stage really where he can just afford to continuously push up in this top lane, because this is going to happen.
Oh, 3 versus 1. Can he pick up a kill in return? They're going to be choosing Caitlyn this time around. The blind comes out. So much damage though. Is it going to be enough?
No.
Oh, the ignite as well. Yes, it will. And 3 versus 1. Meanwhile, Anivia has been egged in the bottom lane, trying to kill this as fast as possible. Braum is actually just attacking the white, and will come up the Unbreakable. Should be taken out himself. Jinx able to just mow him down with the minigun. Ultimate comes through. Super Mega Death Rocket comes out for the 2 and 0. Plus the kill in the top lane makes that 3 and 1.
3-for-1 trade across the map makes it very difficult now for them actually to hold this bottom tower. Jinx still alive, still on full health. He's going to really shred this tower through. Has the Static Shiv and the Infinity Edge, so damage is good enough to start pushing towers down as fast as possible. Rammus probably doesn't want this.
Well, he came in and doesn't have the extra armor and magic resist coming out, so will drop very low and finds himself just 2-on-1. Not very tanky.
You can see that Jinx started to attack Rammus there, but between the Thornmail and the spiked armor that Rammus is going to have, it makes it very difficult to actually use him as a target in fights, because Jinx lost about a quarter of her health there.
Oh, Rammus has arrived in the mid lane. We'll get the taunt down, but with the extra tenacity from the Mercury Treads, we'll be able to get away from that taunt very, very quickly. Now Zed once again moving into his natural habitat of top lane.
Anivia has just become a lot harder to kill. She's got the Seraph's Embrace. That's going to give her an extra shield once her passive is back up anyway, so that is going to be available for next time. Look at how tanky she is. Over 2,000 health currently. Means that if Zed was to all in her, passive would be available, Seraphs would be available. That's a lot of health to chunk through.
Yeah, and passive is actually not available right now, but should be over next couple minutes.
Ah, yes.
But you're absolutely right. When she actually does have the Seraphs and the passive, of course, will be able to at least survive Zed's burst. And he will have to choose someone else. If it's Rammus and Anivia, they might be able to get him for free. That being said, he will head into the top lane. More warding coverage as well. We'll give him that early alarm system that he needs to try and escape the onslaught from the purple team. Those shrooms are starting to still not hurt very much. Has picked up the Leandrews. I was waiting for the extra damage to come out, but the Aegis shield, the Locket of the Ice Flurry, was able to mitigate 90% of that.
Could do with the Sorcerer's Shoes is one thing, because that extra penetration makes it quite a lot more damaging. Zed's trying to be annoying in the top lane again, but Rammus is on his way up there. That's the good thing about Rammus is against Zed, he is going to be pretty difficult in theory to kill, but we've already seen him die once to that death mark. And there's just the highlight of Anivia Caitlyn. That's what's going to happen again and again and again and again until they don't die in a fight.
Until one of them gets caught, but as long as they just sit at the turret, that's never really realistically going to happen unless Zed finds himself a pick. That will be their only real opening. But the whole team has gone into the top lane. Anivia is still there to stall, but it doesn't matter. Zed is still not caught out. Has his 2 penetration items, so he should be able to cut through Rammus as well if he comes up there.
Elise actually had the position there on Anivia as well. Could have landed a cocoon. No, they're not. Then
This is very, very risky as a play, but it's not warded.
well, they've drawn 3 to the top lane.
Yeah, and Zed, he can just die here. He picks up a kill. Even better, he will be initiating onto the Caitlyn. That's already probably enough damage with the death mark. In fact, it will be. He's going 1 versus 3, and Nivea has now arrived. Baron has gone down, and that was well worth the sacrifice.
Yeah, well, with 1 death for Baron, and now they can look to push because look how low Rammus is. And Caitlyn was a large part of the clear. Man, that damage.
They found the Anivia though, and it will be dropping. Still doesn't have the passive. Takes him out. 3 for 1 so far, plus the Baron. They will be able to do some serious damage to this base.
They will. They'll get this middle inner tower. Looking at the death time, as they may even get the inhibitor. It kind of depends on this wave. Look at how big it is stacked up there. Nobody is making a decisive move, though. At this point, you need some sense of clarity. Pushing top in is great here, but nobody was really clearing that middle lane to get the tower, and they may even back off here. Caitlyn is up in 4, has Ace in the hole available, could just throw that down on Zillion to kind of push them away. But I think they'll still get this.
Oh, Jinx does so much damage to towers, so does Elise with the Skittering Frenzy and those Spiderlings attacking all at the same time.
They've got to
They
defend.
should be able to pick up this inhibitor, but no one is trying to defend. Everyone's quite happy to allow the inhibitor to fall, and despite everyone kind of not really doing anything for a couple seconds, it didn't matter. They were able to pick up two turrets and the inhibitor.
I mean, Caitlyn is 5 and 3 right here. With 1 Piltover Peacemaker will pretty much clear most of the wave. That's the bad thing about not going Static Shiv is she was the only one alive that could wave clear. And if you can't anti-siege against a team that have just got Baron and are just about to take your inhibitor, that's a slippery slope and is likely to be a setup for the end of the game.
Now that the inhibitor's down, they've broken the shell of the base, and it will become significantly easier for them to pick up another couple. This is a very risky play, considering the opposing team has Baron, they just lost the inhibitor, and shooting for Dragon. Unless they can make this a very fast timing play, this is going to be very, very difficult. No smite as well from Rammus. Elise is looking up to try and prime this for the steal. Jumps over the wall, it will be the last crit coming out. Zed is actually going to be taken down. So they pick up the Dragon, they pick up the Zed, and now they will go for the team fight. Solarflare comes out, it locks up Anivia. This is still looking like a very good team fight for the blue team.
Jinxult.
The ultimate comes through, Jinxult picks up 1, looking for the reset, however will be decimated by the Glacial Storm coming in for Anivia. Rammus, however, will be able to get that power ball out, and Caitlyn's still dropping low, turns around, Flash Frost into the Frostbite, will be taking him out for a 3 for 2, plus the Dragon. That worked out way better from the purple team than you would have thought.
It did, and they've got their anti-siege composition in full effect. Anivia still has her passive, didn't get egged at all during that fight, so they can still clear these waves out. They can deal with the middle inhibitor being destroyed for a good while longer, and that is going to really halt any kind of momentum that our blue team did indeed have. Leona needs to get a bit of control here over the jungle. They've got good wards on the lower side jungle, but now that there's no Dragon available, there isn't exactly a lot of need for some of these wards that still remain. So getting deeper wards here is the name of the game.
So 62,000 gold to 51,000 at the 11,000 gold advantage. But despite all of the map pressure, despite all of the gold lead, they're still getting called out. And there's still team fights that the purple team can win. And that is at least something that can draw them back into this. If they catch their opponents unawares, who will maybe be able to find themselves a pick like they did on Zed, even though that was an overextension and now has picked up the Guardian Angel, so will become even less likely to happen. Still, they have a way back into this.
There is a way. It's kind of a small opening,
Yeah.
but it's still there. You've always got to hold out hope, but it's difficult on a mixed team.
Yeah.
Having a mixed team playing from behind is a lot more difficult than actually a competitive team, because as a competitive team you have that trust already ingrained that you know what your players are going to do. However, having blind trust, as everybody knows from solo queue, is not always easy.
Well, everyone has a mentality that they have to solo carry, and especially when you're from behind, you'll be thinking the same thing, and almost no one probably will be taking up the role of shot caller. So if you don't have that, then you have no real clear calls to go for, and it's literally just bouncing back before the lanes, trying to find a pick. However, what they have done really well is still set up the defensive wards in their jungle, maintaining vision control.
Yeah, and that really is a key point about playing like a pro, is when you watch the LCS, just look for how much vision control that a team has. The top teams will be in control of vision and sweep out everything they can in the obvious positions.
Yeah. As they are just walking over. Fnatic, of course, in the LCS is very, very famous for their vision control. Their vision game is extremely strong. but the sweepers actually picked up quite a lot of sweepers coming in from this team, from the blue team. And that's closer to what you would want. Zed still still has the ward himself, but that's slightly more forgivable now that he's maxed out on items and still wants the wards if he's looking for split pushing.
I mean, looking around the map, I believe there's only one pink ward on each team, which I guess I'll take an educated guess and say that's the supports that have put both of them down, perhaps the jungler.
Yeah.
At this point in the game, if you have an item slot and you back with more than 100 gold, and it's only that much and you're not buying a major item, pick up a pink ward. Everybody on the team should be picking up pink wards when they can.
You can get some insane value from that because it lasts basically forever, and if you're putting in a very defensive bush when you're ahead, that one pink ward can save you a potential backdoor or potential Baron play. Extremely valuable as you get into this stage in the game.
Not only that, but when you're this far pushed up, there are obvious warding spots that need to be covered by defensive wards, and you can get them time and time again because the defenders aren't going to be able to push out as often.
Oh, the flash over the minion line. They may be able to pick up this kill, but actually Jukes, the ultimate coming in, the ace in the hole does not come through. Will be dropped into his Guardian Angel, but the rest of the team, are they capitalizing? No, they're not. Elise just went back to base. That will be a free Zed, a 1 for 0. Once again, purple team keep themselves in the game.
And that is catastrophic timing. They're going to be able to push mid off this, maybe even look to swing back up and secure the Baron pit. But yeah, the Elise backing there makes almost no sense. I mean, they could have maybe got an inhibitor tower in the bottom lane, but there's a fight in the jungle.
And they've also caught the Leona. This is horrific coming in from the blue team. Will find themselves the second pick. Tries to get some damage down. That will be going to Teemo. They do not have too many minions, but they are now flooding in and just swapping the aggro back and forth using that Bloodthirster shield as well. They'll be able to get the first turret down, and they still have two major members in base. That's going to be the Zillion ultimate as well. They need to defend the Zillion as he comes back up. Rabbit's unable to get the taunt, but either way, that was a huge power play coming from the purple team.
And it's all because of their anti-siege. There's literally no way that this blue side can push in without a pick, without Baron. And as soon as Baron expired, there was no way of them actually getting into the base. Even though there's an exposed inhibitor, you take into account the ultimate from Anivia, the Caitlyn wave clear, it's almost as if that middle tower still exists.
Yeah. And this is what we were saying. And when you have a mixed team, there's no decisive shot calls. So you see Zed die in the middle lane. It's just like, well, I guess he's caught. Go back to base, buy some items. Instead of having the clarity to think, well, we have a minion wave pushing in the bot lane. Their middle inhibitors up. We just rush it, look for this, try and get a trade. But that's not what we saw. However, they have just decided to rush the Baron, and there is no vision whatsoever from the purple team. They will be able to sneak this for free. No one is even moving there. Rammus has gone back to base.
Yeah, this is bad timing here. This is going to make it very tricky to hold on, even with the anti-siege, because now Zed is going to be able to look for that 1v1. The rest of the team are going to be confident enough to go up against a lot of the anti-siege and just whittle down with that extra regeneration. So as long as they don't get caught here, they should be okay to push into the base. But it's a game of 4v4 and 1v1. And it's just the question of who goes against the Zed, because not a lot of people can actually go against him. Only really Rammus has shown that he can take the death mark and stay alive.
Well, the Guardian Angel is down, so if there's any time that Zed is going to be vulnerable, it is now. And if they can get themselves another pick onto Zed, we could see a complete carbon copy of what we saw a couple seconds ago with them just pushing down the middle lane, and that will be an inhibitor for certain. However, now that we are 42 minutes into the game, one team fight, 1-5-0 will just end it regardless.
Yeah, this is the point at where gold is starting to become less of an issue, but Wan, Elise is not particularly tanky, deceptively squishy.
That's a very early Zillion ultimate as well. Repel comes up. That'll be not up for the next team fight if they decide to initiate now. And Nivea is fairly chunked, but with Rammus coming from base with the home guard, he may be able to find himself a pick. Moving once again onto the Zed. Living Shadow over the wall. Flame Chompers will keep him at arm's length, but this is getting very risky for the blue team, who can't find themselves a pick.
That Zillion ultimate is absolutely critical to this fight. And he's not using Rewind.
Now he is.
Now he is. Use Rewind every second it's available, because it is so good for reducing that cooldown. It's up again.
Yeah.
Rewind.
It's essentially getting a faster ultimate, but Braum has been caught. This is literally the worst thing that could happen. A 60-second death timer. It was looking so good for the purple team, but with Baron, this could be the tipping point.
Still not using Rewind. I mean, if you're playing Zillion and your ult is down, constantly rewind, because it almost has like a 90% uptime.
Yeah. I don't know. Either way,
Teemo
Streams Did actually fairly chunk the team. Ramus, this is not the engagement that you want. Okay, we'll be spinning around in circles. So 30 seconds once again on the Braum. They are able to hold the stall team. Piltover plus the Glacial Storm is enough to sweep any wave out of their base. And they just can't push, despite that one pick as well into Braum.
I think we're watching CLG EU.
Yeah, it looks like it. I feel like transported back to Season 2.
It's such a good strategy, though, or it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the Anivia tactics.
I mean, in today's current meta, yes, it kind of works from time to time for Alliance, but the problem with having these late game comps is typically you give up too much in the mid game and the early game. Caitlyn isn't so bad for it because she's actually a fairly mid-game and laning phase heavy champion, but Anivia certainly, unless you're competent on Anivia like Froggen is, you can't really pick it in competitive. It doesn't really do so well in the lane. There are too many things that will bully Anivia around, make sure she never gets to level 6 before you do, and from there you kind of end up losing a lot of duels in lane. But this time it's worked really well against a Zilean who, Zilean isn't exactly the most lane dominant champion. When you look at mid laners, you look at the likes of Syndra, it doesn't really pressure Anivia enough so that she doesn't get to this late game.
Yeah, in certain matchups, especially against melee mid laners, extremely strong, just bomb, 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 and there's nothing they can do about it. Anivia, however, has the ability to stay at range and constantly clear out these waves. And that's what we're seeing again and again. And we've literally just gotten to a stalemate where the purple team are very happy just to wait for the minion waves to die, keep on farming, get to that super late game point, and they'll be able to start going for the 5 versus 5s. Once again, Ramus comes in from base, lands a 3-man knockup, will be able to come for this fight. Timo comes in for the back lines, and Nivea has been focused out, has the Zhonya's but should be taken down, tries to kite everyone away, has the Rebirth passive, but the rest of the team is somewhat healthy. Caitlyn comes in from the side, they just need someone to get onto her. It will be Zed taking her out. This is a very messy team fight, but everyone all of a sudden will just be dropping from the purple team. This looks like it may be game here stress as Ramus and Braum are the only remaining defenders, and the huge damage dealer of both Zed and Jinx are still on the table.
Yeah, they don't have the wave clear to stop this, and nearly 70 seconds were on the full death timers here. 46 minutes into the game, getting caught just inside their base could be fatal.
The flash into the taunt will be taking down Zilean, and that may be enough just to force them back. They have 40 seconds left on the carries.
Keep pushing. You've got a GA on Zed, and your Jinx is full health. You've also got Leona to peel. I mean, I know Braum and Ramus are tanky, but this is pretty much game, or should be.
And they are just backing off. That was literally game for certain. They had the Jinx who rips apart turrets if you have any minions nearby, or even if just someone to tank like Leona, which they had. But Ramus is back from base, Braum is back from base, and are now both full HP once again. They will try and take this bottom here with the turret. They should be able to get this one for free. Still 10 seconds left on both of the carries.
They've got it back.
They do. They could now get caught. Ramus comes through the Flame Chompers, looked for the taunt, wasn't able to get him range, didn't even get the inhibitor.
Oh man, that was questionable not ending the game decision making there. The minions somehow managed to get it. That's how little wave clear that Ramus actually had. Ramus had tremors.
Yeah, he had the ability to clear out. Yeah, he had the ability to clear out the minions anyway.
Yeah, indeed. Well, questionable. The other thing that I'd love to see our red team do, and for anybody here that maybe kind of always forgets to change out their trinket, it's incredibly important to change your trinket. It seems like a very small thing, but it's the kind of thing that'll take your game from where you are currently to maybe a whole set of ranks above, because if you're controlling vision, you're controlling the pace of the game. You cannot dictate the pace of the game without vision, especially when behind. And the fact that they've only got one sweeper and it hasn't even been upgraded to give the Oracle's passive on it just makes it very difficult.
It looks like they're drawing something for us in their base. I'm not really sure what that is.
I'm hoping it's not anything that's particularly rude, but
I want to say it's an arrow. But anyway, we do have Zilean getting caught out. He's already used his ultimate coming down. Now comes the Zhonya's, but it's just delaying the inevitable. Everyone has to back off. A 72-second death timer. This, again, getting caught out, not having the ability to keep themselves alive from the picks. This is not looking good for the blue team.
Yeah, it is not looking good, but indecisive. Why back? Baron is coming up. 15
this is literally
seconds.
the same thing that happened 15 seconds ago where they didn't finish the game.
Oh,
and now the purple team is actually coming in for the back door. Will be able to get away with this inhibitor. Now moves on to the Caitlyn. Should be able to pick up this kill. Does not have a Guardian Angel and does not have enough damage either. And Ramus will just turn around, knock him into the Guardian Angel from the item, knocks him down. and should be able to pick him up once again when he comes up again. There's another pick, 74-second death timer, and Baron is now live, and this is not the greatest play in the world.
Well, at the same time, look, the wards spotted Braum heading back to the base. They will spot Anivia before she ever gets there, and look at the damage that Jinx, Elise are able to do to this Baron. It normally wouldn't be a great play, but the problem is the purple team haven't been able to get vision. They haven't been able to sweep away the vision from the enemy, so the blue team knew exactly where they were.
So they have the Baron, and basically we're at the stage where gold stops being a factor. They may be looking to come in from behind. We may have a base race on our hands here, Stress. Everyone is pushing down the mid lane, now pushing in the top lane. They will have seen them by now.
They can face tank.
They can face tank it. They have the Braum, they have the Anivia. It's going to be Anivia starting to tank up the tower, but they have 2 minions, so it's going to be reducing the towers down. They're now pushing up the top lane. Jinx pushes towers so incredibly quickly. Bot lane, however, they will take it down. The Zinnian once again, he didn't have his ultimate up. They will carry on pushing. Anivia goes for the recall. Ramus as well will try and do something, but he's so tanky. We'll be able to keep them in place.
They're going to win.
is still pushing. Both are dying at the same time. Who's going to take it? We'll have Anivia coming out, clearing out the minions, but Caitlyn is destroying the tower so quickly. Purple team pushing in. They pushed them away. Anivia's coming in. They pushed them away. This is going to be the game. Purple team take the win.
Oh man, what an end to our day here at Gfinity. I couldn't have thought of a better game to actually finish on. My goodness, the blue team had the lead the entire time. Pulse, that was amazing.
I did not expect a base race to finish off our day, Stress. Absolutely incredible play from the purple team. Being on the back foot literally for the entire game and pulling that out. Incredible.
Oh, wow. What a base race, ladies and gentlemen. What a fantastic game behind pretty much the entire way. I want you to go crazy. I want you to go wild. Give it up for the winning team. Wow. The base race. How do you feel? Nice. Awesome. So, right, I'm going to give you some swag. That was fantastic play by you guys. Unbelievable. So let's go over to the guys who threw it all away. But still, please, give it up for this team! Oh, come on. What happened?
We're just base racing through it.
The base race. You had Baron. You could have won the next fight. You lost it. Who made the call? Come on, who made the call? Own up.
I was making most of the calls.
Oh, you made the call.
Most of them, yeah.
Well, commiserations. Please, once again, give them a big round of applause to both teams. There you can click their skin codes. Okay, we have been told we're going to do one more game. So don't go anywhere, because right after the break, we're going to give the rest of our swag away, and we're going to set this all back up. We'll see you then.